Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
You know, those go for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Look, Matt, I'm just saying. You grab my ass, lift me up, and while you're doing that, we'll put some fucking music in the background. We'll be sat. The car will be fixed in no time.
On that note, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I'm Sid Part 2, joining me today is...
Hey, what's up? I'm that Matt kid.
I'm a geek for fun.
Indeed. And today we're reviewing a film picked up by Matt. What film is that, Matt?
We are we are reviewing The Fast and the Furious, a movie from, I want to say, 2001.
Correct.
Yeah.
This movie is 20 years old.
Jesus Christ. And the Jesus. And the first movie in the aptly titled Fast and the Furious franchise, which all have stupider names as they...
No, that is not true. The second movie has the stupidest name.
Well, yeah, okay.
And then
well,
after
yeah,
that,
Fast,
they get like less dumb.
Yeah. But no, I did pick this movie for us to review. I'm sad Steve couldn't be here this time because I think he likes this movie too. But my wife and I had just watched this for the first time not that long ago because I've never seen any of these movies. They've just been this like thing that has seemingly gotten like bigger and bigger in the like popular culture of like action movies. They've just like every year I see people, or every couple of years, whatever it is, I see people getting hype on like a new Fast and Furious movie, and I'm just like, are these like actually good? Like I just assumed
they're
they
not.
I assumed they were trash. So we saw that the first one was on HBO Max and decided to watch it, and I kind of fell in love with it. Like I just found myself enjoying the fuck out of it, and so I just kind of wanted to talk about it and thought it'd be fun, especially because it's now 20 years old. What the fuck?
I know, that's so weird. I didn't think I'd realize that. I was just like, man, what a dated technology. When did this movie come out? 2001?
Like,
Jesus. What's another franchise with like the same actors that's been going for 20 years? As far as films go, man, that's crazy. Like you got you James Bonds and stuff, but they recast, shit. It's nuts. And then they like it's weird because there's a Fast and the Furious fucking like cinematic universe, because didn't they get like the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off movie where like Idris Elba was a super soldier? Yeah,
they introduce like Jason Statham and fucking The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, as characters named Hobbs and Shaw, and I think that they're kind of more on the like government side of things, and so they get involved with like more crazy government shit. But yeah, like it's so crazy because like that is in this same franchise, and this first movie is so fucking like low stakes. The first movie is just like, yeah, there's these street racers and they're stealing electronics, and there's this undercover cop, and that's it. It feels like it just feels fucking quaint compared to what the franchise, having not even seen those movies, but just knowing what it becomes. It's just interesting the way that happens with these like long ongoing action franchises. They ramp up the stakes to the point where the first one just feels kind of adorable.
I mean, it really is. It's like the Batman thing. Like, he starts off and he's fighting like, street criminals and stuff, and then like a year later it's like, I've got to go kill this vampire now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, I was a gearhead for a hot minute in high school. I really got super into cars and car movies. And the Fast and Furious franchise had things that I quite enjoyed, but ultimately I really don't like those. I really didn't like those movies, and I hadn't revisited any of them in like 10 years. And here I sit now revisiting it. I still really don't like this movie. Like there's some cool stuff that I like. Like the thing I think I enjoy the most about this is the plot. Like I think it's interesting to, that you've got this undercover cop kind of, getting in too deep kind of thing. I kind of actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
These movies have always, like, from a gearhead perspective, these movies always drove me crazy because they start a trend, and this is probably the movie that does it the least, but still, they start a trend in that they do the cool car scenes, but with CGI.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, like, part of the fun of a car movie is it's kind of like, porn, of like seeing all the cool, crazy stuff you can do with a car. And, just the hot awesomeness of car chase action scenes and racing scenes and stuff. And the second you do it with CGI and like there's like the 4-way street race, and they keep doing like these weird wipes and zooms and stuff, and it's clearly like CG and then real footage and switching back and forth. And it just doesn't work for me. Like it takes the fun out of it. It takes the cool excitement and the cleverness and I guess the respectability of actually filming a car chase out of it.
See, that's so interesting to me because I like had the opposite reaction because like I'm someone who's not a gearhead. I don't actually really give a shit about cars. And so like for me, I literally in my head was like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I bring this up on the show. I actually kind of liked the way they shot specifically that street race because like there's the big chase with the semi truck at the end of the movie, and that's mostly done practically. Mm-hmm. But the street race is the one where they use a lot of CGI, and maybe this is just kind of a difference of how we're looking at it, what our backgrounds are. I actually thought that was kind of cool because it was like the use of effects was there to impart the feeling of the speed. Like it's not necessarily there to show you this is what practically, realistically a street race would necessarily look like, but this is how it feels when you're these drivers in these moments. Like it feels like you're moving impossibly fast. It feels like the car, like someone turns on the NOS and it almost looks like their car kind of stretches a little bit as it peels forward, like it's a fucking cartoon. It's like obviously that's not realistic, but that's like how it feels. And I was like, that's kind of cool to me. Like I don't know, like I totally get where you're coming from, but for me as someone who's just kind of here for the fun action and the melodrama of the characters over necessarily the cars, and I don't really give a shit about the cars, like it's all technobabble to me. I actually thought that was kind of cool.
Sure, it's all technobabble. I don't know, like that's the thing for me is my argument would be you should just watch a car movie that does those things practically. It would be my argument. It's not that like you can't do cool car stuff in animation, because one of my favorite like racing car movies is Speed Racer from 2008. Like that movie is fucking hype. The racing and stuff in that movie is great. No lie, I love that fucking film. But just I don't know, the like over reliance on CGI for these films. I guess I get to that Nolan level of like you're not even trying to film it like practically, and this movie definitely does it the least. In Fast and Furious 2 is really when you get into the point where they just like completely overly rely on CG. Like it doesn't even have like that charm that you were talking about, Matt, where it's like you get the feel of speed. They just like they do stuff like exterior shots that are all CG, and like you could have just shot that practically, but you did it in CG for some reason. And that just always bothered me. So it's, I don't know. These were always like all my friends kind of got into car movies the same time as me, but they all really liked the Fast and the Furious films, and I was the naysayer of the group, and I guess I still am. Alfie, what did you think of this film? Because you've been all quiet.
Well, you two were taking it off on the lead, and as any good racer knows, well, any true racer, you got to make sure that they go ahead first. So the items you hit on the way are better when you're in lower place, so that you can get first thing with your car when you get to the end. So I've had some experience. I've done some pretty intense races in my time. I've played Sonic R. We've all been through that trial by fire. So like I can relate to the characters in this film when they're talking about it. Like I know what it's like trying to play Mario Kart on a Wii server. Like it's intense. So all of that aside though, it's a bad movie, man. like this is a movie. But I tried, man. I legitimately was like, okay, I could tell like the first 10 minutes it's just oh no. But I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna look at my fucking phone or any of this shit. I'm gonna invest myself. I'm gonna try and remember the characters' names, and I'm the undercover cop stuff and all of that. I'm gonna put myself in it, and I can't remember a single character's name, and I don't know what the fuck I just watched. Like this is just, there's nothing here, man.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm like. That's what I'm like. Is like I actively try, and I'll go on fucking tangents about like other movies which are like got weaker character work, but like I could see the intent or something like that, or like CGI, like exactly what you were saying, Matt. Exactly what you say about like the CGI use to make you feel the speed. It's like no, yeah, on a spiritual level, I am vibing with Matt right now. But I also feel we watched two different movies, and I wish I got to watch the movie he watched instead.
Oh my god. I'm gonna be the one who's over here like, no, this movie's fucking great. It's art. Really, they should teach it in film school.
Because like legitimately, I went into this, went out of it at least, with the impression like, oh, Matt wanted to talk about this to shit on it. But then you talk like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, so Matt actually is into this, and like, Matt's a fucking like smart dude who I like love and respect. So like, there's fucking something in this mess. There has to be. So like, I'm actually curious to see what the hell I've missed, because like, I legitimately, I'm like looking at this and I'm like, I don't even see this as like dumb action movie because it's not even dumb enough. Like I imagine the other Fast and the Furious movies, because I see that on Twitter all the time. Is I see people who I normally think would never watch a movie like this, like go out of town like wrestling almost, where they just like just go they mark over it in a geek space which you wouldn't expect. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, so no, but I get the appeal of wrestling. Wrestling's pretty fucking sick. So like, okay, maybe this is going to be on that kind of level, and maybe the later films where they just go fully silly and they have super soldiers is my bag. But like this one where it hasn't quite jumped that shark yet is just, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's fair. I don't. Oh man, I don't know that I have like a really great academic defense here.
Monkey brain defense.
What attracts me to this film, definitely more so than the sequel, because the sequel just doesn't have enough of this in it. I love the melodrama of it all. I love the story of this cliche-ass story of the undercover cop who falls in love with his Mark's sister. You know, I love Dom just as a character. I think he's really fun. I love when he's just sitting here and just being like, I live my life 1/4 mile at a time. And I'm just like, he's just talking nonsense. Like, it doesn't even fucking mean anything. But I love it.
Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or by a mile.
Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or by a mile. What matters is you win. I'm just like, this is like nothing. Like, just nothingness is coming out. But I'm enraptured by it. I don't I don't have reasons, man. I just enjoy the shit out of it. It's really fun to me. When he's like, when he's like, nah, that was never your car. It's great. And just the cliche conversations between Brian.
I owe
the
you a
undercover-
10-second car.
Yeah, you owe me a 10-second. I said 10-second car, not 10-minute car. There's so much good shit in this. And like just the really cliche conversations between Brian and his superiors, and just that, like, of every undercover cop story ever, like just those cliches being in this movie. And I think what I really love, the core of the movie, the thing that I like the most, is the relationship between Brian and Dom, and the way that their friendship by the end of the movie, when and spoilers for a 20-year-old movie, when Dom finds out that Brian's a cop, and he's clearly visibly angry, but they've got to put their differences aside to go after the Asian gang because they just did a drive-by on their friend. Like, I don't have this like academic defense of this movie. I really don't. I love the melodrama of it. I enjoyed the shit out of it, and that's all I got.
No, I mean, I think that's really it. Like, it just I really feel like this movie did not have any idea how it wanted. Or no, let me take it back. I feel like this movie had a really good idea for an ending, because like I do love that ending of, like, you know, he respects him so much that he lets him go even though it's gonna cost him. Like, I fucking love that idea, but it's just like it works so hard to get there that it makes no goddamn sense by the time you do, because like it's not even that Dom goes after the motorcycle guys. Fucking Brian takes out both of them, which is funny to me. So yeah, he takes out both of them, and then like chases Dom down, and Dom like stops at a stoplight, and then they do that last little quarter-mile race, and then they tie. Like, that's the way it ends, is it's a tie race, and then Dom's car randomly flips the fuck over. Like, it has nothing to do with anything. And it's just silly the way that works, because honestly, I just feel like they really tried to contrive that ending and also deal with this like quasi villain that really shouldn't even be the villain that they set up, you know? Because the threat in this movie seems to be coming from the truckers, but we only see 2 heists in the movie, and one time the trucker like vaguely hits a guy a couple times with a baseball bat, and then the next time the trucker is like an absolute fucking psychopath who keeps reloading his shotgun. Yeah. And it's terrifying. So there's no middle ground. It's weird because they introduced the Asian villain gang thing with the, like, I love the scene that his father slaps him because he's brought dishonor upon their family. You have brought dishonor! Slaps him, the cops take him away. Like, just all of that's like a fucking hot mess, but just, you get all that done. And then they randomly drive by even though they don't need to, and there's this whole, like, dangling thread with Jesse. And I just feel like that if you wanted that ending, because I think that is a legitimately good ending, if you wanted that ending, I think the way to get there is you should have done more with, like, Dom actively trying to get away and Brian continuing to keep up with him. I feel like the end of this movie should have been a chase scene between Brian and Dom as opposed to what we got. Well,
I assume they're going for, like, because, like, Dom, he's got that line where he's like, I did 2 years, I'd rather die than go back. And so they're doing this drag race where, like, there's a train coming. And so I feel like the idea is that, like, Dom's either going to win this or he's going to die. He's either going to win this and get away and not have to go to prison because he's going to escape, or he's going to get hit by the train and he's going to fucking die. And he's not going to have to go to prison. And so then to have them tie, to have Dom get in that position where he could easily be sent to jail now, and to have Brian fucking tears building up in his eyes to fucking hand him the keys and be like, go. I'm just like, fucking, I I understand that how we got there could have maybe been structured a little bit better. I understand that there's a lot in this movie that's contrived, but in the moment, I'm here for this, and that's all I've got. And I just like that Dom as a character is really fun. I just enjoy him when he's on screen. Vin Diesel having just the time of his life playing this fun character who's, I mean, he's not like fun in like an over the top way, but he's just so like into this character and just being this like fucking badass. I just love it. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I'm just gonna be like, I don't know. I just love it. I don't know why.
I don't know, like, I've heard people compare this movie to, like, chick flicks, like, you know, your generic rom-coms, and it's like, you know, like, if you break them down and look at them in an objective sense, they're all terrible, but it still just hits on a level, and it's just, like, comfort food. You just enjoy it just because.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this franchise falls, honestly, is just some people's comfort food. I don't know. I think that's fine, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Alfie, what did you think of the dishonorable Asian gang lord stereotype?
I mean, I like the scene where like they pull up on like the motorcycles, and then they've got like the fucking guns on the hip, but it's like as if no one else is paying attention to the guns are on the hip because the tourist's like, yeah, that's a pretty good ride. It's like, yeah, well, if you want to beat me, you're gonna have to do better than that. Fucking, what's he called? A crotch rocket or whatever the fuck he calls a bike. I was like, that's a good name for a bike. I'm gonna call someone a crotch rocket from now on. That's pretty funny. But like,
that's just a term.
yeah. That's just a thing that is existing. So I like again. It gives me like a sports anime vibe, where like it's just like, no matter how crazy the rest of the situation actually is, the actual most important serious thing will be the cars, and all conflicts and emotional debates will be set on the track like real men. So that's good. That's my shit. I like that. That's good. Like I like it when we can just. I'm a boy that was raised in Yu-Gi-Oh, so like I understand the need.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Just substitute the cars for decks of cards.
I mean, yeah, but it's also, it feels like it's in that phase where it's not willing to commit to this is what this is yet. It's like it's, yeah, but also we want to be the action movie you can take your dad to, and your mom's gonna be hard and bothered all the way through it. Like it's that kind of shit. Where, like again, very early 2000s kind of vibe, where we've got all this other shit on top of it, and the characters, to me, you're right, Vin Diesel is the one who feels the most like he's in that mold already, like he's here for that, because he has carried the most presence. But, like, no one else matches him in that respect. Like, no one brings that same kind of energy, so instead it just feels like he's a fucking weirdo. It doesn't. It's not one of those things where like he is an anime character among anime characters. He is an anime character among
B-movie actors.
Yeah, exactly. I like that does have its own charm, but
I feel like that kind of.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like that almost kind of works though, because like Brian has that conversation with Mia where she's just like, yeah, everyone just kind of, it's like Dom has his own gravity, and people just get, as soon as they meet him, they just gravitate to him, and he just pulls people to him, and I'm like, yeah, I buy that. Like I would 100% believe if I met Dom played by Vin Diesel, I would just be like, oh yes, I want to get involved with this dude and whatever he's up to. And so I feel like that actually kind of works though, because I feel like, and honestly, that was one of the things going into the sequel that was so, because the sequel doesn't have Vin Diesel in it. It's just Brian doing a different undercover cop thing that's way less cool.
Vin Diesel isn't in the sequel.
What?
Yeah, you're right. He's not.
He doesn't come back until 4.
The end of 3, and then he's in 4. You're right. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was trying to remember, because like I remember that was the complaint a lot of people had about 3 is, oh, it has nothing to do with the other 2. I'm like, yeah, that's what made it a better movie.
Yeah, because Brian is not the most interesting character here, really. Like, Brian he's, I kind of like that we don't know, at least I think if I'm remembering this correct, we don't know that he's a cop at first. Like, he just kind of shows up, and he's like a racer who's kind of new to it, and just kind of he's like, if I win, I'm gonna get the money and the respect, and everyone's just kind of like laughing at him and shit. And so you see this kind of guy who from his backstory, he does on some level kind of feel like these are his people, because he got caught like busting cars when he was a kid, or jumping cars or whatever. So he kind of has like a kinship with these people. And I do think the story of Brian going native, so to speak, and like sort of falling in love with these people and this culture against his better judgment, I think that all feels pretty natural, and I feel like that works. I just don't think Brian himself is terribly compelling, and so I think that's why it's so easy to kind of gravitate to Vin Diesel, because I feel like Vin Diesel is the only one putting in a performance that feels worth the time to watch.
And I can see where you're coming from with that. I don't know. I think for me, though, it's not the case where, like, it's this larger-than-life character. I think if this was more... The rest of the film was, like, almost like a Nolan fucking film in its seriousness. Like, it was like so down to earth. I like the characters like their hearts are on the fucking sleeve, and all they got all this shit going on. And then Vin Diesel walks in, and he's like, a true racer knows. And then that'd be pretty fucking amazing. But it's just because everyone else is on this meh level, for me at least, that it doesn't. That aspect, if that is what they were going for in script, doesn't hit. So I think I do actually kind of wish happened more. Is I do like the dynamic when he goes back to like when he's being a police officer, and we get to see like the chief and like the person in charge of him. I like those character dynamics, because again, maybe that's my preferred kind of like schlock, where it's just like. You got, look, man, you better look for another job. He's like, you can't pin this on me, chief. Like, I like that shit. I like that nonsense. Like, A-cab all the way. But that shit is inherently look, man. As someone who's fucking had to do law for my time with the fucking law degree, that is always hilarious to me, just how not the thing that is, but I also love that fantasy world. It's like so cool to me. It's just so like, man, but this guy, I respect him too much to bring him in. Well, that's a choice you're gonna have to make. Is it like, I like the grizzled, the grizzled cop? He's like, well, you gotta make your decision, kid. And he's like the young guys on the thing. So all of that's good shit. But then I wish, like, okay, so maybe I wish that got more focus, and we just take the whole fucking car thing out of the whole equation, and we just make it about these two fucking guys. Because I mean, this is a weird fucking comparison to the Fast and the Furious franchise, but like one of my favorite movies of all time is Heat, and that whole thing is built on the dynamic between the role of what it means to divest yourself as someone who's trying to catch someone, and what it means to live yourself as someone who's constantly trying to run away from the law and all of that, and like what that does to you as a person, and the dynamic between that. And then the ending of that is kind of what this film like is like begging to do. But like I think you could have pulled that off with this if you really honed in on that, on just two guys who have absolutely no common ground whatsoever, and just come from these completely different walks of life, and are actively supposed to be going against each other, but they go through these fucking crazy events and all this thing, and they just can't help but just see how fucking hard the other guy has to work, and all the respect. And like, again, the anime style, that's the fucking anime rivalry, like the begrudging respect, where you have to take him down, but like you're also like, damn, if anyone's taking me down, it's got to be this guy, kind of thing. So like I would have liked that to get played up more, maybe, and leave it less on like trying to build up other characters. Like I feel really bad for the actresses in this film. That is just what? There is nothing to do for them in this whole
Yeah.
thing but to be fought over or Googled that, and that's not good.
I do agree. I like.
But Alfie, in the defense, me and my friends for years, anytime we were hoping for something and it didn't happen, or we were trying to like win a fucking PS2 game against each other, and we started to lose, you know what we'd say? Monica!
Okay, there's some pretty powerful energy you've got right there, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that's good.
No, I do agree. You know, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. So like, there's a bit at the beginning where like there's a dude, like they're setting up for the big like 4-person race, and there's the chick who's just like, she goes up to one of the racers and she's like, oh, this is yours no matter what, but if you win you get her too. And that's the kind of like exploitative schlock that I really, and I'm gonna have to preface this, I really don't mind that in a movie that's going for just a pure exploitative, crazy, like just action movie that's just gonna play into a bunch of cliches and have fun. But you can't do that and then not have any other decent form of like female characters in the show or in the movie. So like that is just kind of like a gross moment, but I wouldn't have really minded it if it weren't for the fact that like Mia is also just not a character, and like Letty is also just like not a character, because like
they're a character. They're the girlfriend and
right,
the sister.
exactly. Like if Mia was more of an actual interesting character, or if Letty was more of an actual interesting character, if you just got some form of like actual good female characterization in this movie, then
if they had a scene together.
Yeah, then the more
where they don't talk about men.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, if it could pass the Bechdel test. I'm just saying, if you had some level of female characterization that was not just shitty, then I wouldn't have minded some of the exploity, like schlocky stuff as much, because I really don't. I don't mind just like, yeah, let's get into this world where everything's kind of like about sex and money and cars, and I'm just like, yeah, let's live in this world a little bit. But and that's totally fine. But then like you have this whole story where part of the reason Brian ends up turning his back on the cops is because he falls in love with Dom's sister Mia, and I just feel like there's not a lot of chemistry there. I don't really get what Mia's deal is as a character, other than her being excited that someone is interested in her and not just her brother for once, because I know she does have that exchange, and I'm just like, so I do struggle with that. I do feel very bad because there's really not much here in terms of decent female characters, which makes the kind of exploity stuff feel less like fun schlock and more just kind of
I mean, I'll be honest, like, I've seen enough car movies to tell you that this has one of the least exploity female things. The fact that the female characters in this get, like, any kind of thing to do besides, I'm gonna throw my panties or my bra to signal the beginning of a race is just, like, a godsend, honestly. Because, like, I'm trying to think of other fucking car movies. Redline comes to mind. Redline is just a fucking garbage film that we might have to review at some point, because it's everything that's wrong with Fast and Furious with none of its redeeming qualities. But like there's a moment in Redline where they're like on a plane, and the like a private jet that Eddie Griffith, I think is his name, the comedian, he's in it, and he's like this rich black rapper or something, and he's got like all these women on the thing, and he's super into car racing, and this one woman is being just a pain. She's just being a real nag, and she's like, take me home. And he's like, babe, we in a plane, I can't really. And he's like, no, land it now. And he goes, land it now? Yeah, land it now. And he's like, all right. And they just fucking like land the plane on the highway and kick her off the plane and then take off of the plane again. I'm like, there's so much wrong with what just happened there. This movie was made in a post 9/11 world. What the fuck? But like, there's a lot of stuff like that in a lot of car movies, especially since a lot of car movies were made in the fucking like 70s when just male gaze was just the name of a lens that you put on the camera. So I don't know. I don't think this like, yes, there is sexism in the Fast and the Furious film. It's honestly leaps and bounds ahead of some of its contemporaries, so like that's all I have to add to this conversation. Yes, it's bad. Believe me, it's not as bad as it could be.
Well, I'll fair enough then. To be fair, I haven't seen a lot of like these types of movies. I know one.
I'm like half tempted to tell us to watch Dukes of Hazzard, the 2007 film.
I think, and part of it I also just like, and this might just be a me thing. There's something about the aesthetic of this like early 2000s with all their fucking like neon ass cars that I really enjoy. It reminds me of growing up as a kid playing Need for Speed Underground 2 all the time. And so there's something about this early 2000s muscle cars that are like super souped up under the hood. I'm not a car guy at all, but something about this underground street racing world and the aesthetic that it carries, it's just kind of like fun and whimsical to me. I just enjoy it, and I think part of it is because it brings me back to those games I used to play.
Hey man, I just think Joel Schumacher did it better with fucking Batman Forever, the street racing in that one. No, it was like Batman Forever. Batman and Robin, the fucking street racing is like what I got the vibes for this, but I like that one more because it's just fucking there and it's got like cool Gotham racers who've got fucking neon tattoos and stuff, and that reminds me of the shit I remember, just like with like Twisted Metal and all of that kind of just craziness. For sure. But no, I do get what you say about the aesthetic of the thing. Like I like just, I guess, to go into the gearhead mode as much as I can. I do like actually like car designs are always interesting for me, at least because I tend to prefer like older styles. Like I like, especially like, again, anything that's in been a James Bond main car is normally like a little like, whoa, that's cool, or very like 60s kind of like what they thought the future was gonna look like, retro tech kind of thingy. But when we go to this and we just have these, we've got the fire lines that make it go faster. I'm like, yeah, all into that shit. The bright yellows with the fucking garish purples beside it. It's like we're in that phase where we know we want this, but we don't know how to make it look good. But that gives it a charm and kind of like a kid, literally people playing with toys that you kind of lose once you get to just more like cars that a businessman would like respectively own. It's like, fuck that shit. Get all the wheels, man. Give me the lights, baby. Again, I'm into that. So I do agree with you that I like the aesthetic of the thing. Watching this reminded me that like this is exactly kind of that Michael Bay early 2000s kind of like, I don't know what it's called, like the filter that's on it, like how it's shot, like the color grading on the thing. Is everyone is so like sweaty. Everyone's like, everyone's like I was gonna say, like, everyone's hot, but not in the sense that like, oh my god, it's fucking everyone's these fucking models. Like, no, everyone's just really like hot, like they need a drink, like at all times. And that makes me really laugh for some reason, because I get it. You put them in the cars, and everything just gets like to this level of like it's a boxing film. They're sweating so much, and it's the fucking final round, and just Kate. But yeah, it's not actually that. It's just the lighting just makes everyone look redder. That's something that this film brought me back to. Is like, oh yeah, movies just used to look like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they actually. It's funny, they even do that. They have that scene where they pull up to the like dude in the like black Ferrari, and he sees their like fucking orange ass car, and he's just like, oh yeah, this is, better than anything you could afford. This is Ferrari. And Dom's just like looking over and he's like, smoke him. I'm just like, that shit, like, I don't know what to say. I'm here for it. That's the shit right there that I'm here for. And so yeah, it does harken back to, and you're absolutely right. It's so cool to go back to a movie from that like early 2000s action movie mold, because like action movies just kind of don't look like this anymore. And so it's always fun to kind of revisit it for all of its kind of aesthetic trappings, both good and bad, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, the aesthetic of the thing, the like little wind up Hot Wheel looking cars, is something I just find adorable. I don't know, there's something really fun about those to a certain extent. I mean, I played a lot of those racing games on PS2 and shit, and like those are, you know, it's like, oh yeah, this, I'm gonna get the spoiler, and this one I can put the graphic, I can put like a fucking skull and crossbones on the hood, and Mom, I'm gonna get some spray paint, I'm gonna put a skull and crossbones on my own car. Ian, you're not doing that. No, Mom, I wanna fucking... Ian, you're not doing that. So like, I don't know, there's something very, very particular about the style. Again, I don't know, I get really into, like, this is just making me want to talk about some other like classic car movies, and I'm like, oh, we should do a review of this, we should do a review of this. Like,
Geeky Gentleman, come on.
Oh,
I mean, like, I'm really close, but I think I might just ask us to do like a top 10 like car scenes in movies, or something like that.
Best fictional cars.
Yeah, best fictional cars. Lightning McQueen, number 3.
Ka-chow!
No, I don't know. There's just like there's some cool stuff in the film. Like, just it is very of its time, and it's interesting to see how the types of cars that they're driving and the kinds of things they're doing. It's like, it is a completely different universe. Like, it'd be... That's what I want. You know, we're close enough, right? Like, let's just double down and have the characters from the like Fast and the Furious 12 or whatever they're on at this point travel back in time and meet their younger selves in Fast and the Furious 1 and just sit there like, oh man, look at that, driving around those like super modded cars. They look so freaking cringy now. Yeah, no, what were we doing? Like, that'd be just the shit. Because the funny thing is, the franchise is at that point where they legitimately, I would believe, if they did a Fast and the Furious fucking time travel film, it would be great. Probably, like, because, you know, certain the one actor's dead and stuff at this point, you probably couldn't do it. At least not in the same way. So you'd have to do, like, they're sneaking around the original movie and trying to, like, stop some kind of ridiculous plot in the middle. Like, man, all this started over some DVD players that we stole. That's so crazy.
Like,
yeah,
the
that's...
DVD players got like Hal's fucking Skynet, and they gotta like take it down. It's just like, we come from the bad future where the fucking cars rule the earth, and now we have to stop it where it all began. We gotta go back to the beginning. It's like that. They gotta make sure that the fucking tuner's bad, because if the tuner's too good, he's gonna like get too focused on the tuna sandwich and not Mia, and then he's not gonna be as invested because do that. But there's all this shit. Yeah, no, I'd be down for that. I would write that movie after watching this one, because God help me if my mind wasn't like, I wish I was watching somewhere else more interesting right now. So like, that'd be the movie for me. It's just, this is all the cool shit happening in the background.
Oh, that's one of my favorite fucking bits. It's like, why I like the tuna here. No one likes the tuna here.
No one likes the fucking tuna.
I don't know.
It's so funny. You're right. We don't see Vin Diesel again until movie 4.
Yeah.
Do we ever fucking see anybody from Vin Diesel's crew again in the franchise? Because, like,
oh shit,
that one
I don't
dude,
know.
we don't even know if one dude survives his little helicopter ride to the hospital, man. Like,
oh, Vince or whatever.
yeah, we don't know if he lives, man. It's just so, like, fucking mismanaged and like crazy by the end of the movie that we don't know if that guy survived.
He shows up as a photo in Fast and Furious, which is the 4th movie, and then he's in Fast 5, and then I think that's about it.
Because Gal Gadot's in Fast 6, right?
Gal Gadot's in Fast... What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like her first big movie. Is she's
shit.
in Fast 6, and like her biggest scene is she walks around in a bikini.
Oh, wow. Okay then.
If you wanted to know where Zack Snyder got the idea for casting her as Wonder Woman, I'm like 72%
Right.
sure.
Well, and then you got okay. What else? You've got like Jesse, who's like the crew member, who's like he's super fucking good with computers and shit, but he's got like ADD and like and like
Well, he
Brian's got-
dies.
Yeah, he dies.
He dies in
yeah,
this
he
movie.
dies. But I'm thinking like because like Brian's got that scene with him where he's just like, oh man, you should like go to MIT or something, and he's like, oh I'm real smart, but I've got ADD, so I fail all the tests, so I can't like go to college. And Brian's like, oh, feels bad, man. Like he's just so like these like these great moments of like, well, not great. That one's just kind of really on the nose of like trying to humanize the crew. So like Brian has these moments where he's like, oh, these aren't just criminals, these are like people, man.
Yeah.
And then they just kill him off. He's just kind of there to be sad and gets
Like
killed.
the contrivance for how he loses, like what ends up getting him killed is just, it just comes out of nowhere. Like, does anyone even remember if they mentioned that his dad is in prison?
Like he
before
mentions
that
it.
happens?
He mentions it like at the race. He's like, oh, I'm racing pink slips, and like, oh, you can't race your dad's car, and he's like, oh, when he gets out we'll be able to race together. And then he loses his dad's car and like refuses to turn it over to Tran or whatever his name is, so they fucking murder him. And I'm just like, oh, okay then.
It's just so fucking like contrived. It comes out of nowhere. And again, it's like you don't even need that. Like, you know, that villain was just a like that villain was a misdirect. Vin Diesel is the villain of the film. You know, he fucking like he's the one stealing the DVDs.
Whoa.
Yeah, they do have like
serious shit.
they do just have like some red herrings, like because at first you kind of think it might be the like the I guess like the Mexican or the Latinx.
Yeah, Hector.
Yeah, Hector and all
yeah.
them. You think it might be them because they come to the place and they order 3 of each parts, and the parts that they're ordering are for Honda Civics, which are what the cars are that are doing the truck jackings. But then it's like, oh no, it's not them. It's actually it's the Asian gang, and then it's like, oh no, it was Dom the whole time. Yeah, it is kind of weird that like, yeah, they're just there to be red herrings, but then they bring them back to kind of be a shared enemy, I guess, for Dom and Brian to like put their differences aside to avenge Jesse, I guess.
But at the same time, it's fucking like Dom checks to make sure that they're both dead. That's all he does.
Doesn't he knock the one, like, doesn't he like peel out of the like, doesn't he like cut one off and knock him off the road into the grass?
Maybe he does. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but it seemed so incidental compared to like the way that it I guess it should have been. And I don't know, just that like chasing down 2 motorcyclists that just did a drive-by feels really anticlimactic after everything they just did with that truck, which is a legitimately cool scene. Like, you got fucking Vince sitting there hanging by a wire, and you're like, oh man, this guy's in trouble. Like, this is insane. And that trucker does not give a fuck.
You don't even like see the trucker's face. You like, they always just show his hands like reloading the shotgun or like putting the gun up to the camera. Like it's so funny to me because like the whole thing is that they're like, oh, the truckers are tired of getting robbed every night, so they're like gonna arm themselves if we don't do something. I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I was a trucker and I knew that some guys were gonna try to rob me, I guess I could see doing that as well. And then they play that up like he's like the fucking Terminator shooting shotguns out of his truck cab and stuff.
I know, and like it's just, you know, I'm pretty sure they're insured. Like if they get robbed, I'm pretty sure they don't. It doesn't really cost them anything.
Yeah, because of that pride, Ian. You don't understand. That's why you're not a real racer or a real trucker. You live by the road, you die by the fucking road.
I'm just saying, like it's just such a like contrived thing. It's just funny to me. Because like any trucker, like, I'm pretty sure if I go hold up a truck, they'd just be like, I mean, I guess take it. Let me know how that works out for you. Trying to fucking unload the whole thing. That's gonna be awkward. You know, they put fucking low jacks in all our cabs just to try to monitor and make sure that we're you know, going to the right stops and everything. So, you know, good luck getting away with it, but have fun. It just doesn't seem. It's just a very contrived premise. Like the fact that the FBI is under such pressure because the truckers are gonna go all vigilante. Like, what the fuck?
It's the fucking, like, it's the Dark Knight Returns where the fucking, like, president comes in and he's like, you know, I had those truckers, man. Yeah, we all like a wild Bronco now and again, but you gotta calm them down. They're causing too much noise. So I understand, sir. Those it fucking goes down to the trucker, and it's like, this is the racetrack where my parents got shot, and I'm gonna use it to defeat you. Don't make me do this. Ah, please, please, give me the Frank Miller Fast and the Furious movie.
When are we getting Fast and the Furious comics? This is what I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
9-panel grids.
I think my favorite thing to come out of the Fast and Furious franchise is just fucking Dorkly did one video of this. It's still one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen, where they turned Fast and the Furious into a tabletop RPG, and they they like got in costumes and then they played the game, and then after like they played, they got on blue screen and like acted parts of it out. And like I think my favorite thing was when guys like, okay, I'm a mechanic and I get a +2 to my roll whenever I do something reckless and someone explicitly tells me not to do that thing. And they're just going through their stats and everything, and then it's in the game and they're playing it, and then the guy's like, all right, I'm gonna get on the hood of the car and try to jump onto the semi. And the guy's like, I'm gonna help him out, I'm gonna expressly tell him not to do that.
That's pretty funny.
It's so good. Oh, this was a good thing. That's my favorite thing to come out of the entire Fast and Furious franchise, is like a 12-minute YouTube video.
I wish I had more to say about this movie specifically. I wish Steve was here, so I had one other person presumably in my corner. But
I mean, you'd probably get Steve to say, "Oh, fuck, I love this movie because it's so terrible in every way," and then like he played out even more wrong with it.
Probably. I mean, I don't disagree with anything that's been said. I think just what it does have just kind of works for me in an unexplainable and emotional way.
That's the most important thing, though, Matt. Right? Isn't it? Like, it's like, I saw this got posted recently, and a couple people got like flagged for it, but like I fully do agree with it. And that's just like, at the end of the day, movies, they're not about plot or characters or none of the shit we ran about. Like, really, they're not. Like, that's just not what writing is. You are just trying to capture a feeling, or even a feeling that you're not trying to capture. But if something can make you just feel something, even if it is just schlocky happiness for like an hour and a half, then yeah, that's fucking, you don't need to justify it to anyone. So like, if the fucking Fast and the Furious movie just scratches that itch for you, man, then that's pretty fucking sweet. Because again, that's the way you described it, and the way I see many people describe it is it's something they didn't expect they'd ever watch. Because like you said, it was like, oh, I thought that these are good, these are things. And while it didn't do that for me, I always find media that like breaches that boundary to be really fascinating. Like I whenever a comic book movie makes it over to, like, comic book movies are the mainstream right now, but like when something like The Dark Knight hit, when it was just a cultural thing, that just people were just like, yeah, this is just a good movie, and it kind of that when that happens, I find that really interesting. It's like, what's the difference? What makes that happen? And when something like this happens, where a kind of like, oh yeah, your dad movie or something like that, where that breaches the nerd space, it's almost just as rare. Like, you don't see that. As there's comic book fans, or like nerds in general, have a very fucking self-esteem issues through many years, so they have a tendency to just look down from their nose on stuff like this, like I did. So whenever stuff like that, but the Fast and Furious franchise seems to be that exception, where like for some reason it's looked at with a fondness and like a joy to it. And no, I find that fascinating. So like I think you've done a good job of at least explaining what parts about it actually do get you involved, and I can see it. It's just, I'd be curious if we ever do any more of these films. Because I know you said that the third one's like a decent or whatever, but like,
no, I just like the third one because it's just stupid and fun.
Yeah, like, but something like that. Like, again, I'm not saying do it fucking next episode, but like, in next decade we'll do a Fast and the Furious movie a decade, and we'll see how that one works out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this movie and like occasionally like the Mission Impossible movies. Like, I see people in the kind of nerd space, in the like comic book movies and all that kind of Twitter sphere. I see like these movies get some buzz and attention, and yeah, I mean, well, like with the what was I gonna say, with the Mission Impossible movies, I do kind of get it. Like, I get it with those, and then with these, I'd never even cared. But when I watched this, I just I don't know, it hit for me in a cool way, and so I mean, objectively, there's definitely some things wrong with it, like a lot of things. But I do think it overall hits the beats it's trying to hit, and I am definitely sold on the melodrama of just kind of the story of Brian and Dom, and I think that's what really works for me here. Everything else totally kind of up for grabs in terms of what works, what doesn't work. I do find it funny that the whole thing revolves around fucking DVD players and shit like that.
So, like the fucking opening shot is just like all these DVD players, and then one of the last things that you can clearly make out is a fucking VHS television combo.
So good.
Like I remember Cartoon Network used to do like giveaways of those.
He's like, they've stolen millions of dollars worth of electronics.
Our ass is in the fire now. Like, we got this other thing uptown of fucking corruption and all of this shit, but like these fucking DVD, like, you know what this is actually? If you actually take the realistic look at this is clearly fucking cops trying to meet a quota. So they're like, they're blowing this up to the nth degree so they can look good, because like, this is fucking DVD players, man. So like, they're like, no man, this has got like, they do some street races maybe sometimes, occasionally, that seems to be a public affair. So like, we'll fucking come down hard on these guys, and then we'll be able to look to our bosses and look good, and we'll be tough on the new guy and all that shit. That's what this film actually is about. It's a damning critique of the criminal justice system. But one thing I do want to ask before I get in the sense that things are kind of wrapping up, does Fast and the Furious have like a theme?
Family.
No, I mean like a theme song.
Oh.
It should.
I mean, Ludacris did the title track for Too Fast, Too Furious.
I think this one has like the song that plays, the like Ja Rule song that plays over the end credits.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's more like James Bond style themes as opposed to like a consistent theme.
Yeah, that's what because I think this is the most missing, because the moment you mentioned Mission Impossible, it kind of clicked for me. It's like, yeah, this is what those films would be like if they didn't have a fucking good soundtrack. It's like a good soundtrack. Like I just sounds just nothing to me. Sorry, but like if this film had a good fucking soundtrack, it might have kept me going. Not gonna lie.
That's the shit when like when they're lining up for the raise and like Dom hits his speaker and just it starts playing like that like fucking early 2000s club shit. I'm just like I'm so here for it. Like I'm here for it. Like give me that. It's stupid nonsense noise and I'm so here for it.
See, that's my favorite thing though, because like later in the movie they talk about like, oh, and we'll use aluminum because then it'll reduce the weight by 2 pounds, and it's like, so you're sitting here fucking like putting enough thought into the car that you're like worried about like too much extra weight, and yet you put in a fucking sound system with a fucking amp.
Priorities. It's fucking important.
Oh, shit's just funny to me.
Someone should do a rescore of this film, but put it, like live it up fully to the anime and put like some fucking Dragon Ball music, like cat.
I would be down for that, admittedly. As much as I love the like schlocky, terrible like 2000s drone club music, I do agree. I think you could have amped it up a little bit in that department for sure.
I think the last thing I want to mention, just from like the car side of things, this movie does do. I think this is one of the first movies to do the thing, and it is super cool. It is super iconic, and that is drive underneath a semi. They do that twice, and that is pretty fucking sick. Not gonna lie. Yeah. I do really like that, and that's become really, really popular ever since they've done that. So, yeah, fair enough.
That was pretty cool.
Game recognized game. Respect where it's earned.
Racer, like Ian knows. Ian's fucking live by the tire, live by the fucking.
Yeah, man, I've lived my life a quarter mile at a time.
Quarter mile at a time. Just watching this movie just maybe it legit made me want to go play Need for Speed Underground 2 and get like a fucking green car with the blue flames and the like green like glow on the underneath and shit like that. Like
I just love how they're like fucking, you know, stealing from these truckers and they're, you know, trying to keep a low profile about it. So they put fucking green undercarriage lights on there.
Like they're rocking like 3 like jet black cars so they can like roll up, but then they've got like they're like same MO, 3 black Honda Civics with like green fucking neon lights underneath. That's amazing. That's the same thing as putting the fucking stereo system in your car before you worry about the weight. Like it's fucking priorities. You gotta bring it.
The thing that cracks me up about it, it's like it's the same thing with like the motorcycle chase at the end of it, where I'm like, any movie that ever puts a motorcycle gang as a threat to someone in a car always perplexes the shit out of me. Like I have never understood that, because like, do you know how many motorcycle accidents happen because someone just didn't notice the motorcyclist and just lightly bumped them with the car, and then it completely wrecked the motorcycle and like killed the driver, the rider? And I'm just like, any type of like a motorcycle gang pulls up on a car, I'm like, okay, swerve, and this is over instantly. So like that, and then it's just the fucking like 3 Honda Civics trying to jack a semi-truck. I am very much of the same opinion. I'm like, swerve, and this is over instantly. So that semi-truck fucking kisses one of those Honda Civics, that thing is gonna skip like a goddamn rock.
Oh man, you know what this has made me want to be a thing that exists now? Can we like have like the esports version of this? Can we have like fucking Smash tournament like level of like Fast and the Furious, where like there's like shit going on? But well, no, maybe Smash tournament, that's too real, because like there's actually darker shit going on at Smash tournaments there is in Fast and the Furious movies, sadly. But like some fucking guys in like a Mario Kart, Sega and Sonic All Stars Racing fucking tourney. And like there's like a fucking drug ring as well, though. And you got like the new kid who fucking he mains tails and like no one takes him seriously because of it. And then you got the main dude who's like he's a shadow, the fucking player, but he's like the toughest, he's the best shadow main in the state. And but like he takes him under his wing, but then it turns out he's got a sordid past. And then they have to both team up to take out fucking the top racer, Billy the Egg Hatcher, and all this shit. It's just, oh man, that would be the best film ever fucking made.
Oh man. See, now I want to play Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed.
You know, right? When's Fast and the Furious going to get to that level where they're going to start morphing in the middle of the track racing?
I mean, give it a couple more movies.
Yeah, I think we're on, like, I don't know. I wish I'd seen more of these, just because, like, I feel like Fast and the Furious as a franchise is definitely very interesting. Like, just apart from the individual films. Because I think we're on F9 is the movie that's about to come out.
Oh my god.
Because the last one was The Fate of the Furious, which involved a cyber terrorist. And then this one, F9, it's going to involve John Cena playing Dom's younger brother, and he's an assassin. And like, I'm just like, when you like go to Wikipedia and you like look up they call it the Fast Saga, like it's the fucking Skywalker saga. You like go through and you read the like one sentence descriptions of all the movies and just see how it escalates. It's like the best thing. And so it's I think they're an interesting case of like a film that starts as this early 2000s movie about street racers who sometimes rob trucks to now they're like dealing with government assassins and shit like that. And I think that's just kind of fascinating, just to take a franchise that doesn't feel like it was ever meant to continue to 9 films. But I don't know. I enjoyed this enough to probably seek out and try to watch more of them just for the sake of it. But
yeah, I'm really curious what you think. You're gonna be one of those people that hates Tokyo Drift. I'm certain of it.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't like Too Fast, Too Furious. I thought it was pretty garbage. So
yeah, and this one doesn't have Dom in it either. So
I love Dom. Dom's the best. He's the best character in this movie, not of all time, but in this.
I mean, I'm more interested to see you try to defend that other statement. Hamilton sucks. Let me tell you about a little movie called Fast and Furious, starring one Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no, Dom is the best character of all time. He could beat Batman in a fight, even if Batman had prep time.
Who would win in a race, Batman or Dom?
Fucking Dom lives his life 1/4 mile at a time. I think he could take Batman.
Yeah, but Batman's got more contingency plans if he gets into street racing.
This is the thing, though. The Batman already made this episode. It's like he trashes the Batmobile, but then he makes a sicker fucking Batmobile with neon lights, and he fucking re-races him and he beats him because that's the thing with Batman. He's got prep time, so he'll lose the first race. But he's not living his life 1/4 mile at a time. He's been living his life this way since he was a boy. And then reveal that Crime Alley was actually like opposite a racetrack, and that's what made it be like, if I will wage my time warring on criminals, and I'll also do it in a sweet ass fucking car.
Did you guys stay for the post-credit scene?
There's a post-credit scene?
Yeah, because I didn't even know that the first time I watched it. It's just after we watched it today. Carly and I were just kind of talking, and we didn't even notice that, like, we just weren't paying attention. And then the credits finished, and then it, like, faded to black, and then a post-credit scene came up. And the post-credit scene is just Dom driving in Mexico, just to show, I guess, that he did get away. And then it just plays in voiceover Dom being like, I live my life 1/4 mile at a time, and for those 10 seconds, I'm free. And I'm just like, I still don't know what. I don't know what those lines are supposed to mean. I don't know what that's supposed to tell me. I don't know why I'm seeing this again. like, there's a post-credit scene that literally does not set anything up other than just to confirm that Dom did in fact get away, and he's now just on his own in Mexico.
I mean, that's funny because then he's not in 2, and then he just shows up at the end of 3 for, like, no reason.
Nice.
So
well,
it's pretty funny.
I did... Apparently, 3 retroactively now takes place 6th chronologically.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that they retroactively made Tokyo Drift, instead of taking place 3rd, it now takes place, like, after 4 and Fast 5. It's
just funny because, like, Tokyo Drift, like, if not for the Vin Diesel cameo, would probably have been just like a direct-to-DVD sequel, like the 3rd Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. But just fucking Vin Diesel shows up at the end, and you're like, oh, I guess this is in the same universe. All right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
What do we want to do for ratings? Who wants to go first?
I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna give it probably not a 4, but like a 3.75. I don't know. I'll give it 3.75 trucker shotguns out of 5.
All right, I'm gonna give it 1.5 out of 5 quarter miles, by which I live my life at a time.
That's the way you gotta do it, man. We each got our own path to follow. I respect that. Game respects game. For me, though, yeah, it's just I like talking about it, but this was not a good time. so I'm gonna give this 1 bad tuna sandwich out of 5, and I'll never have. I'm glad this answered the question for me, though. I never have to look at the TL with Fast and Furious movies with like, oh, maybe I should find the time to do that. No, I did. No, I'm just gonna read Spider-Man.
I will
comics.
say it's probably a better movie to watch with like friends. Like it's probably a little bit more fun to watch with like a friend
Matt,
or two.
Are you saying the real race was the friends we made along the way?
It was. I remember. There's this like. What was the American Dad? There's like an episode of American Dad where they discover like the script for the next Fast and Furious movie, and it's just like Brian and Dom fucking each other the whole time, and the producer's like, oh yeah, the guys send us the script this way, and then we just cut out all the gay porn and then shoot the movie. And they're like, and that's why there's all this like subtext between Brian and Dom, because it's supposed to be a gay romance story, and we just cut out all the sex scenes. And that's like their explanation for how the movie works. And I can't help but view it with that lens, and I'm just like, this would be so much better if it was a love story between Brian and Dom.
I mean, it does work a lot better, honestly.
It
you
does,
cut out the whole sister thing, and like
that would make it like 10 out of 10. I fucking love it. Anyway.
Oh. Alrighty. Like, oh man, he's like, I don't care what you gotta do, get him to talk.
I don't care if you gotta
Dom.
put a gun to his head and blow you. Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, Dom, I'm sorry, I've been like going after your sister, but really, I just want you. And then he fucking like sleeps with Dom to get the information. Such a better movie now. All right. Anyway, everyone, what are we doing next time? Is it between you and me, Alfie? Is that the? Okay. Do you have something, or do you want to fucking rock paper scissors for it? What do we want to do?
I don't have something, but I'm sure I could think of one on the spot. But I'll give you a rock paper scissors game just to assert my dominance.
Okay. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, go.
Rock.
Scissors, damn. He asserted his dominance all over me.
Oh,
it got in my hair.
That was raw, uncensored dominance.
I hear it comes out
man.
with peanut butter, don't worry. Alright, so fuck that, this does not help me in any way, shape, or form, actually. Let's talk about? Oh, okay. All right. This is because this is something that's happening right now with fucking Marvel's got this kick. Let's talk about reusing titles slash retelling story, like that whole thing, right? Like Marvel's got that big thing. We're doing the Clone Saga again, but with Miles Morales, or we're doing Heroes Reborn again with it, and like that is a thing that happens all the time as well. Just like the Halloween movies and stuff. Like the idea of reusing the title for something different, reusing the core idea for something, and not like a reboot.
Branding a title,
like slapping year one on everything.
Yeah, branding a title.
Exactly.
Okay.
That kind of. Like again,
yeah, branding a title.
title.
I think that
different
works.
Things, but like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, I think that works. All right, everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the philosopher.
I'm the car erotica lover.
And I'm just living my life 1/4 mile at a time.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things. Gentlemen, start your engines.